Okay, so we are going to look at budgeting right now, and how do we do that, and what does it look like? So we're going to assess our wants and our needs. This is always a really difficult part, and a lot of it is because when I'm dealing with couples, they tend to disagree on the wants. They also feel some of the wants are their needs. So let's go through that. Before you even start the needs and wants though, you do need to bring 3 months of bank statements to the table because you want to look at what your patterns have been. So let's look at wants and needs though. So wants are food and not going out to eat at restaurants food, but grocery shopping food. And again, to just elaborate on that a little bit is I find when you make a menu for the week and you make a list for that menu and you stick to that list, you will find that you spend a lot less money. As a matter of fact, if you even add and take cash when you go shopping, you will definitely spend less money because you will be in fear of going over and leave all the plastic at home. So that's food, and then shelter, your rent, your mortgage, property tax if you have mortgage. And then you have transportation. So transportation is whether you bus, whether you have a vehicle, but it's not buying a vehicle that you can't afford. It's living still within that budget. So when you're buying a vehicle, you have to make sure that it's, for one, I would say pay cash. But if you're going to do a car loan, you have to make sure, one, it's not for like 9 years, because that's just crazy, getting into debt that long. But maybe looking at just a very economical car that your budget can afford for, say, 4 to 5 years. Okay, so that's the vehicles. Utilities. So we all love to have our cable and our internet and our cell phones, but to be honest, utilities I'm talking about are just heat, hydro, well, your property taxes, as I mentioned, insurance for the house. They're not internet and they're not cable. I know that's a tough one. People would say, how do you live without internet? But to be honest, you could actually go to the library and you could have free internet. And cable, well, nowadays, there's so many shows, sports shows, that you can download shows and like stream live. So I don't think cable is as important today, and it's definitely a want and it's not a need. And then your cell phones. Now, it used to be cell phones were a lot more expensive, but I would say now a home phone could actually be more expensive because everyone's cutting them out, so the fees have gone up. If you can get an economical cell phone where it's like 20 to 30 a month, where you got to watch the cell phones though is your data plan. Now, I have seen where Rogers and Bell have come out with this $75 unlimited data now. So it's starting to get a lot cheaper to have a cell phone where you can enjoy it, not feel like you're always going to go over your data plan. But again, you want to always be checking the latest deals and the plans that they have and not get stuck on a plan for too many years because they're always changing. So your best bet is to not have a plan. And then the last thing I want to talk about that's really, really important is your emergency fund. You should really have 8 months in the bank. And I know people are like, wow, that's a lot. Now, 8 months of what is all your bills, all the wants. A good way to start is maybe having a garage sale, looking around the house and purging and selling on Kijiji, just building up that, emergency fund the fastest way you can. One reason I recommend doing it, immediately is because it gives that commitment to we're going to do this. We're going to get that 8 months in the bank, and by going to it right away is almost like you're committing to that. And it's something that to me is so important because if anything changes financially in your household, then you are going to have 8 months to relax. And I mean, after 8 months, if you can go to a year, go to 2 years, then it's great. And you know what you can do is you can actually invest in a GIC so you make a little bit more money than your regular savings account. So that would be a good start on the budget, is making sure your emergency fund is going to be fully funded. And how do you do that within the budget? And that's all part of what the budget is about. So the next thing is the wants. So wants are typically not brought in to the budget, unfortunately, until you know you're meeting your needs. So if you have the income, you minus off all the needs that we've talked about, whatever's left over. Now, if you have no debt, no credit card debt, and the only debt is mortgage, which is already in the needs. So whatever's left over, now you can start budgeting some wants. So some things might be, so Christmas is a good thing to budget for. It's always the same time every year. So we know we have, 12 months to save for this Christmas time. So we want to make a list of all the people we buy for. We want to put a dollar amount of how much we're going to spend. And then you can go shopping knowing that you're actually spending money that you have. You're not spending money on credit cards, because guess what? In February or January, when all the credit cards come in, I am sure anxiety goes through the roof, because now you've got the debt that you have to pay for. And for some people, that could take almost till next Christmas to pay off, because they go way above their means. It is so easy to spend money on credit cards because there's no emotional attachment. So try and save the money first and then spend what you've saved and budget accordingly. Other wants would be vacations. I know so many people that love going on vacations, but what happens is they put it on their credit card, and then when they come home, they're depressed. They almost need another vacation, because now they're depressed about the money that they've spent on vacation. Because again, when you use plastic, there's no emotional tie until you get the visa, and then there's a big, huge emotional cry. So what I would suggest is always planning your vacation a year from when you go on vacation. Put that money aside. So again, you can put it on your visa, but then pay it right off. And you'll come home, and I'm telling you, you're gonna feel so peaceful about your vacation that you did not go into debt over that vacation. So budgeting is a funny thing, because people have this feeling like it's a real negative thing, but really it's such an amazing tool to set you up so that you're not broke. That's what budgeting is all about. So if you came from a home where it was constantly, it's not in the budget, it's not in the budget, you can't spend that, we can't spend that, it's not in the budget. You're gonna grow up with this, whatever this budget is, I don't want any part of it. And I get that. But you have to try and change your mindset to, no, this budget is going to actually help me reach my goals in life. It's going to help me retire with dignity and not count on the government checks, which are not going to be a whole lot to live a lifestyle you've been living. It's just a tool. Don't look at it like you're going to be restricted and have no fun in life. That's not what it's about. It's actually planning for your fun. It's just not going into debt for your fun. A lot of people will say, I wonder, how the rich live. I'll tell you how the rich, a lot of them do live, is they're very frugal people. They don't go out and spend money they don't have. They don't get into debt to buy things that they want just because they want it. And they go into debt for it. They actually spend the money they have. Yes, they will have a bigger pot to pull from because they're rich. But you could still live like a rich person, and that is save before spending, stay out of credit card debt, and just plan for your wants. You might have to plan a little bit longer than maybe somebody else, and that's okay. There's no comparisons. Everybody's lifestyle is very different. So just worry about what you bring to the table and how you're going to do your budget together as a team. You have to be on the same page, because if you're not, you're just going to fight over it. And it's not good to fight over money. I have seen some pretty sad, broken people over money. I've seen people that have committed suicide because of money. And to me, it's like, it's just not worth it. Like when you can just use a tool to help you live those dreams out. So we want to be able to, what I say is live your dream and not dream your life. So thank you.